Terrible crash, leaving one woman dead, her identical twin charged with murder.
Moments before the crash, witnesses saw the twins fighting in their SUV on this famous scenic route known as the Road to Hana on the Hawaiian island of Maui. It's one of the most breathtaking and scenic drives in Hawaii, but its narrow, winding path can be treacherous.
We could see arms pulling her hair, and her head was yanking and jerking like this.
Lawrence Lau says he was driving behind the twins. Alexandria Duval was in the driver's seat. Anastasia was in the back seat.
The driver was swearing, and there was screaming from another girl.
Police say the car was equipped with a black box, much like airplanes have. It indicates there was hard acceleration and no attempts at any braking before the car plunged off the cliff, landing on the rocky shoreline 200 feet below.
Car just went down a cliff with passengers within.
Alexandria, who was behind the wheel, survived. Anastasia was not wearing a seatbelt and was killed. Alan Aquina was fishing nearby with a Boy Scout troop.
We saw a hand coming out of the driver's side window. It was quite shocking that someone would survive that deep a fall.
That's the surviving twin being airlifted to the hospital. She's been charged with second-degree murder, but ABC chief legal analyst Dan Abrams says that charge will be hard to prove.
I think this is a really tough case when it comes to second-degree murder. I mean, the allegation that they were fighting, right, and that she then accelerates the brakes, so I guess the theory is that it was a murder-suicide. She's going to risk her own life to try to kill her sister. I guess that's possible, but it would seem to me this is much more likely a sort of manslaughter case.
The devastating wreck is the culmination of a downward spiral for the twins.
Lift your arms up.
5 years ago, they were running a successful yoga business in Palm Beach, Florida, called Twin Power Yoga.
The mayor of the city was a client, a lot of downtown business people, society, philanthropists.
Palm Beach gossip columnist Jose Lambier says the twins lived a flamboyant lifestyle with matching Porsches.
The success and the money got to their heads. You would see them with Cartier bags and what have you. They started spending a lot of money, and I think they fell behind. They just put on a closed sign on their studios and just left town.
They moved to Hawaii last December and were attempting a fresh start when Alexandria allegedly deliberately drove off the cliff. So how did it come to this? Clinical psychologist Michael Rothman specializes in twins.
Identical twins in particular can feel very much connected and wanting to be a part of each other's lives. In this case, it sounds like it was a very intense twinship where it had both this great closeness and great rivalry, great fighting and great aggression.
Bombshell revelations from the boyfriend about the twin sisters whose love-hate relationship allegedly ended in murder.
I told them that if they went out there, they were going to get into a fight and go over a cliff, and they did it.
Jeffrey Hall dated Anastasia, the twin killed in the crash. He recounts the awkward moment he discovered she had a twin sister.
I get woken up to what I thought was Anastasia, sitting there sobbing, rocking, topless. So I'm like, oh, so I go over and I sit down, I'm like hugging her, like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. And then Anastasia walks in. So here I'm hugging her topless sister, and she walks in and she looks, she's like, what are you doing?
He says that was his first glimpse into their strange world. But wherever they went, trouble followed. Hall says the twins had a volatile relationship, best friends one moment, fighting the next.
They're like going at it, and I go and I try and break them up. And Anastasia stops and she looks at me in like this really deep voice. She's like, if we're fighting, you just let us fight. And I'm like, okay.
Hall, who drives a cab, says he's not too surprised that the twins ended up going over a cliff because the same disaster almost happened to him when he was driving with his girlfriend.
She like ripped this thing off, just pulled that off, and she went to grab that and I took her hand away. And when I put my hand back on the wheel, she reached up and she grabbed my steering wheel as I was in the middle of a left-hand turn. I almost hit the curb.
He videotaped his girlfriend's erratic behavior, which he says got worse when she drank. He claims that was often.
4 bottles of champagne. You're the one that drinks 4 bottles of champagne a day. Look at you. You're wasted.
Good.
I know. You don't need me.
And listen to this bizarre threat from Anastasia.
Wait again? Dad.
Do what again?
take a picture of me again. Never take a picture of me again.
I know it was an accident. I know there was no intent to drive off of a cliff and kill her sister.
He hopes prosecutors putting Alexandria on trial eventually see it the same way.
She's been through enough. She has to deal with not having her sister, the one that finishes her sentences and knows where the other half of everything is.
A new twist in the case against a woman who's accused of murdering her twin sister.
Well, her attorney is now saying that the charges should be thrown out for a second time, and Ron's back with the story.
Right. The reason that lawyers for Alexandria Duval say that the murder charge against her should be tossed out, they are now claiming that prosecutors in Hawaii misled the grand jury that indicted her in the death of her sister Anastasia last year.
This morning, Alexandria Duval is fighting to dismiss the second-degree murder charge against her again. According to the defense motion, the prosecution misled the grand jury with incorrect evidence and failed to present evidence which clearly negated defendant's guilt. At the center of this new filing is the grand jury testimony of the detective in the case.
Isn't it true that they recovered hair clumps from Anastasia Duval's hands?
It wasn't close, but yes, hair.
During grand jury proceedings, that detective testified that an eyewitness saw the sisters arguing, the passenger pulling the driver's hair, but that the hair pulling stopped moments before the crash. The defense now arguing the detective's account was incorrect, claiming the eyewitness actually said the hair pulling never stopped, right up until the SUV went over the edge. But that's something the prosecution says actually strengthens their argument. Then any hair pulling would have had nothing to do with the SUV going over the cliff, and it would have had to have been an intentional act by defendant.
The court has concluded that the evidence fails to support a finding of probable cause for the charge of murder in the second degree.
A judge threw out the charges in June of 2016, but Alexandria Duval was rearrested 5 months later in upstate New York. Also at issue is the prosecution's claim that Alexandria Duval accelerated, never even attempting to brake during the ordeal.
That speed gradually increased over the 5-second period to the time of airbag deployment to around 40 to 48 miles per hour.
But according to a new expert hired by the defense, Alexandria most probably did not push and hold the throttle to the floor and make a hard left toward the wall, as stated in the grand jury testimony, adding the pulling of her hair could have caused some erratic driving.
Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. We're doing yoga now. I am joined by Allie and Ann Dado. They are with Twin Power Yoga here in Park City. This is for our Keep It PC segment, celebrating local businesses right here in the Park City area. How are you ladies this morning?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us on the segment.
Sure.
For Keep It PC.
Let's talk about what got you ladies into yoga in the first place. And clearly you're twins, and this is a joint passion that you have, right?
It is. And it's interesting. It's called Twin Power Yoga, but the reason why it's called Twin Power Yoga, it's not just because we're twins. It is part of it, but it's because we cater to the physical and the spiritual. So a lot of times when you come to yoga, people have a certain definition of what yoga is. It's just a stretch, you know, and yoga is like a restaurant. It's like going to different flavors. So you have to practice at different places to find your flavor. We cater to the spiritual and we'll kick your butt, and it is physical for sure.
I love it. That's great. Tell me a little bit about what makes you guys unique from other yoga practices out there.
Well, number one, a lot of times people think, like what Allie had just said, yoga is just stretching. Power yoga is very physical, and what we're going to show you today is we're going to put you through some vinyasas.
Okay.
It's very organic. Our flavor is not just static stretches, the same sequence. Each class is very authentic, so it's in the moment. There are no mirrors, so you're not going to see mirrors. We cater to also the people that are like brand new to yoga. So we do not demonstrate. We walk around the room. We are interacting with each student. So you
helping adjust,
helping
you're
adjust
doing
and
it
flavor.
correctly.
And like you had asked me before, are we going to demonstrate? You're going to see it's an art. We speak it through. So even anybody who does not know yoga, all they have to do is listen.
Wow.
And we give modifications. So it's really it's a full body experience of you really being in the present moment while going through a very rigorous practice.
It is rigorous, and it goes by fast. We listen to elevating, like high uplifting music, which makes it fun. It's a fun practice. It is in a warm room, so you do sweat. And like Ann said, there's not mirrors, so it's not about that judgment. It's about where you are in your body. So people that ski, that hike, that are really active, it's time to rinse out. But even if you're
just like a stay-at-home mom, you come into your practice, you'll see all different walks of life.
That's perfect for today. And I want to mention too, you guys do something so neat for those who have served in our armed services. It's incredible. What is this about?
Yeah, we've been doing this for years. Our father's a veteran. He served the Gulf. And what we do is we offer free yoga for the military, for any firefighters and police officers.
So
and we started
active
that
or
in the youth.
non-active. So we feel that people that serve us, we need to serve them. And we could go on and on because there's so many people that serve, but if we, it's just something that's important to us. And we've done that. It's been beautiful in our studios in West Palm Beach.
So
People
neat
coming
that you
in,
do that.
paramedics, anything like that come in because they need it.
And their job is so physical. So this practice really tailors in just to letting go, giving them that hour or 75 minutes just for them. And that's in essence what our practice is. Our classes are either 60 minutes or 75 minutes where it's your time. It's your little 6x2 sanctuary. You drop everything at the door and you just come into the moment.
And the studio is absolutely beautiful. Like it's
we've been showing some images of that. It looks so
It's
great.
really good. We did create a DVD and a manual. I'll show that. I can show that a little bit later. But you can take that home with you, an hour of power each, and the whole practice broken down, which is like
and that class, the DVD is awesome because it's a live class. So when you have it in front of you, you feel like you're part of the class, and you see all walks of life. You see older people, you see physically fit people, and all doing the same practice.
Good, beautiful. And look down, lift your hips up. Lift your thighs, there you are, and just stay here, you're breathing.
Okay.
Yeah.
See how stacked you are? We hug our muscles to the bone, so squeeze your quads, hugging your heels back, lower to a low push-up position. Chelsea, bring your elbows in. You can drop your knees, that's a modification, good.
Low push-up.
And lift your shoulders slightly. That's an upward facing dog. Shoulders peel back, tops of your feet, foot to the tops of them.
That's upward facing
That's
dog.
upward
Look,
dog.
you're doing it.
You got it. And then roll over your toes, foot to the balls of your feet, push back into a downward facing dog.
Okay.
And just feel that out. Now walk your dog out. Bend your knees.
Walk my dog out.
Bend your knees. There you go. You're doing it. You're practicing.
I love
if
you
you're
guys.
breathing, you're practicing yoga. That's it.
All right, one more time. Go to a high push-up position. Now bring it together with a breath. Low push-up, exhale.
Can I do this when I do my push-up?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can drop
I need
modification.
to do the sissy push-ups.
That's
guys.
okay. You got it. Elbows
And
in.
then-
Squeeze your elbows in, though. There you go.
Yep. Upward dog. Lift your heart.
And bring it back to a downward facing dog. And normally we're fully on the mat.
Oh, okay. We'll move up.
But you got it. And push back to your downward facing dog when you're ready.
All right, and just stay here for a minute.
That's a lot easier now.
Yep. And just walk your feet to your hands now.
Okay.
Just gently walk your feet to your hands.
Tiptoe it, walk
So
it
we're at the
together.
top of our mat.
And you still stay in your forward fold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just bow.
Softening your knees.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels good.
Yeah, let your
Let's
neck
just
go.
I like
Let your
that.
spine just be water.
And
That's
drop,
awesome.
bend your knees 90 degrees and reach your arms up, Utkatasana. We're gonna feel a little bit of fire here.
Like this?
Yep,
Yep.
and lift your heart. Shoulders relax back, shoulders, yep, open your knees slightly, just a pinch, good. And lift your toes, lift and spread your toes. And you set your drishti somewhere. And drishti is just our vision. It becomes meditative over time. You're a born yogi. Hands to your heart center, hands to your heart center, and bow forward, straighten your
like
legs.
this?
Yep, that's
Okay.
namaste.
Like this?
Yep, and then bow forward.
Okay.
That's a forward fold in Uttanasana.
That feels good.
Dropping
Can I
your head.
stay here?
Yeah, you can stay here, but just let it go even more, like water. You got it.
Oh, that's nice.
So release your hands to the earth. Create a tabletop spine. So bring your hands to your shins, Chelsea.
Okay.
So flat back. That's an awesome flat back. So I could serve Starbucks right on top of here. Your flat back. Beautiful. And then bow forward. Drop your hands. Just fall forward. And then create another flat back.
There you go.
Hands to shins. And now we're going to go through another vinyasa. Step back to your high push-up.
Step it back.
Your plank.
Palms
So your
flat.
palms flat.
Yep.
Step
Okay.
your right foot, left foot back, high push-up plank. Hold. Chaturanga, low push-up, elbows
Good.
kiss.
Elbows kiss.
Upward dog. Lift, downward
Push it
facing
back,
dog.
use the
Push
power of
back.
your
Drop
legs.
your head. Beautiful.
Got it.
Step your right foot to your thumb. Spin your back foot flat. And come up to warrior one. Rise, warrior one. Reaching your arms up. This is warrior. Front knee,
it.
beautiful, 90 degrees. You're plugging in into
through
your
your
big toe
fingers.
mound.
Okay.
That's warrior. So just take one breath in, look up, and then frame your front foot with your hands. So bring your hands, frame them, press into the earth, step your right foot back, high push-up. You can do it. Low push-up, chaturanga. Upward dog, straighten your arms, tops of your feet, downward facing dog. Left foot, step it to your thumb.
Back foot spin flat, reach, rise up, front knee bent, warrior one.
Wait, what am I doing?
Reach up, warrior. That's it. You got it. That's crescent pose. And then bring your palms flat to the earth, step your left foot back, high push-up. Chaturanga, low push-up. Upward dog, tops of your feet. And then balls of your feet, downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. One more big breath in. Step your feet to your hands. Create your forward fold, bow. Create your halfway lift, hands to shins, flat back, Starbuck spine. And then forward fold again, bow. Take your seat into your chair. Utkatasana, thunderbolt. Breathe.
Okay.
In, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. One more breath in. Place your hands to heart. We're going to put it together. Straighten your legs as you fall forward. Bow forward. Bow. Create your halfway lift, hands to shins, flat back. Step back, high push-up. Plant your palms first. High push-up plank. You know this pose.
Oh, okay.
Chaturanga, low push-up.
This is longer than I thought it was going to be.
There. Put it together. You got your stretch pants on. You're doing it. You're doing it. Low push-up.
I just lost my breathing because I'm laughing. Okay.
You got it. You're doing great. Upward dog. Straighten your arms. You're on the tops of your feet. You got it. Roll to the balls of your feet, and you finish in a downward facing dog. Don't give up. Yeah. You've got it. Right foot, warrior one. You can do it. Step it. Back foot flat. Spins flat. Reach your arms up. Press your palms overhead. Cut the air, warrior two. Set your gaze past there. Powerful warrior. Breathe in. Breathe out. Cartwheel. Right palm up palm. You got it. And then we bring our hands to our heart center. And how do you feel?
Really good. You guys are so awesome. I'm sorry. Oh, you guys. That was so awesome. Great. I know that's not how you're supposed to end your yoga workout, but that's how I'm ending it.
Yeah, you did amazing. And you broke out a sweat. Yeah, I see a little
clearly.
So the myth of it just being...
Oh, that is so neat that you really do feel that workout even in the about an hour. It's gonna get even in the 5 minutes I did it. Well, let's talk quick about what we have here. This is so cool. We alluded to this before. What's this, ladies?
Okay. It's something with... You talk about that. All right, this is our DVD. We did an hour power. So it's basically an hour of me teaching a live class and an hour of Allie teaching a live class. And the beautiful thing about that is it's in a studio setting with our yogis, with just regular people just that practice our style of yoga.
And we can find you online or give you a call.
twinpoweryoga.com, and also our amazing boutique. So it's kind of nice if you're a little nervous about yoga, you can come in and talk to us, shop. We have incredible things.
So very good. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Awesome. You're so nice to me. I appreciate it.
We'll expect to see you on
I need more practice with that. You guys, thank you.